Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have another 10 pens currently inked this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Krusac Legends 16 in the Dragon Slayer. We have a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. We have a Visconti St Basil. We have a Visconti Luxor Obelisk. We have a Classic Pens LB5 in the Kouseki. We have an Esterbrook Estie Oversize in the Sparkle Garnet. We have an Estie or Esterbrook Estie Oversize in the Sparkle, and this is the Tanzanite. We have an Esterbrook Estie Oversize, and this is in the Cosmic Wine. We have a Gravitas Sentry, and this is in the Skittles. And then we have a Gravitas Sentry in the Raw Brass. So I think let's go through these pens in a little bit more detail. So I did have this pen inked up last week. This is still inked up this week. I am running the cartridge converter down. This is a beautiful custom-made pen by Krusac, and he makes it in this lovely wood cap with dragon scales and then real antler. And this antler, this picture is of a dragon and a dragon slayer. You can see the dragon there, and then you can see the slayer. And he actually draws all of this himself on computer and then laser etches this down onto the body of this pen. Quite remarkable that he manages to do that. Beautiful pen, beautiful work of art. And I have to say, I am in awe of this. He doesn't actually lacquer or treat the antler. The antler is not always perfect white because it is natural antler off of an animal. So you will find that it does have blemishes on it. It's not a perfect white, but that adds character as well. Now, this comes with a number 6 size Yovo RK Krusac nib. And I got this on a medium nib. It's a cartridge converter pen. It's actually a really good size. You can post the cap, but it doesn't post deeply or that securely. So it's not really a cap that I would want to say post, but you could do so if you really wanted to. But this is a beautiful work of art, and I have to say that I am still in awe of the beauty of this pen. So that for me is a really, really nice pen, and I will probably add more Krusac pens to my collection. The next pen here is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. Again, another pen that I'm in awe at because this is a beautiful Maquet Rawdon pen. Rawdon is the way that they apply the abalone strips. Also, this has white quail's eggs that are crushed and then painstakingly glued back to the pen. Amazing work of art, and this must take hundreds of hours for a pen artisan or artist to create. It's a beautiful work of art, and I'm glad that I picked one of these up eventually. It does have the number 6 size Taccia nib there. I got this with a broad nib. It's a cartridge converter pen. You can get the Empress model now, which is a slightly more girthier section, I believe, with a number 8 size nib as well. It does add about another $800 or pounds to the price of the pen, which I think is a little bit too much considering the actual price of these pens already. However, they are a really, really lovely pen. Beautiful work of art. So I do think certainly this is worth it. The Empress maybe not so much for what you're getting extra over this Miyabi Winter's Breath. But still, both are beautiful, beautiful pens. The next pen here is the Visconti, and this is the St Basil. So this is actually made out of a black, red and blue, maybe a little bit of a hint of purple celluloid. Beautiful celluloid material. Normally, celluloid does not come in something that you could make a pen out of this girthy. So I'm guessing that this probably came in sheets in very thick slabs at one point, and either Visconti or the manufacturer of the celluloid decided to cut it into larger chunks so that this could be turned into a pen. Uh, Absolute beauty of a pen, and it has the St Basil inlay there in gold. Uh, Again, beautiful pen. I'm glad I picked this up as well as the rollable at the same time. It's a power vac, it's a double reservoir. These two are converters. It has the screw thread. It has a number 6 size Visconti nib there. It's a 23 cat palladium nib. Beautiful pen. Have to say that again, it's another beautiful pen in my collection, and I think we all go through variances of what we want in our collection, and our collection changes over time. But that's a pen that I added, I think, probably at least 2, maybe 3 years ago to my collection, and I still love that pen. So I decided I would bring it back out and write with it again, because I haven't written with it more recently. The next pen as well is this one. Again, another work of art. Some of these pens, or most of these pens, really are a work of art. So this is an Ebonite pen, base model pen, and it's a square or squaring of the circles type pen, or rounding of the square, if you wanted to call it that. It's a Visconti, it's a Luxor Obelisk. There were only 88 of these ever made, and I got one. So 88 worldwide is a very limited edition number. So I'm really glad I got this. It has hieroglyphs on the pen. It's Urushi lacquered as well. It's not a super light pen, but it's not a heavy pen either. And it has a power vac, a double reservoir that I've locked off at the moment, and a number 6 size Visconti 23 cat palladium medium nib, which is a joy, absolute joy to write with. So again, this is a pen that I really do love in my collection a lot. The next pen here is the Classic Pens LB5 Kouseki, made from diffusion bonded acrylic, which essentially is slices or slabs of acrylic pressed together under immense pressure to create a diffusion bonded acrylic, and it just fuses together. This was made by Sailor for Classic Pens or Andy Lambrou, and this was a collaboration. So you can see there, Sailor, LB5, Kouseki. Now you'll see there it's 47 of 50. There were only 50 of these made. Again, a very limited edition. There were, I think, there were multiple colours. There was the red, the brown, the green, the white, the purple. Might have been a blue. I think it was 5 colours though, maybe 6 colours that they had in the LB5. Beautiful, beautiful pen. I wish Sailor would do another collaboration with Classic Pens, but I don't think that's ever going to happen now. So the nib there is a number 8 size Sailor King of Pen nib. It's a medium nib that actually writes a little bit more like a fine nib. It's a cartridge converter pen. Like all Sailor pens, you can post it as well, and it posts deeply and securely. I just love this pen. It really is a beautiful pen. But I have to say, unfortunately, the price of these pens have gone through the roof now. So to try and pick one up at a reasonable price is pretty difficult at best. And there will be people that will sell them, but they will be a lot of money compared to probably 2, 3, 4 times the amount of price to when they were released. So that goes to show the amount of increase in price that some people are willing to pay for that pen. The next pen is an Esterbrook Estie Oversize. This is the sparkle in the Garnet. This is made with the Mackenzie Penworks diamond cast material, so it has real diamond dust in that resin, which makes it sparkle. Beautiful, beautiful color pen. Has metal threads. It has a spring-loaded clutch mechanism to try and not let the nib dry out. It has an Esterbrook number 6 size Yovo nib, and it's a medium nib on this one. Cartridge converter. You can post a cap, but look, it doesn't post deeply and it will wobble. You can post it, and I'm shaking it and it's not coming off, but is this going to be a pen that you want to post? Probably not, but I will leave that up to you to decide. Maybe some of you cap posters out there have an Esterbrook SD, either the regular or in this oversize. Let me know if you do post that cap, and how do you feel about how it posts. I don't feel it posts deeply or that securely. The next pen again is another Esterbrook Estie Oversize in the sparkle in the Tanzanite. Beautiful blue, again, Mackenzie Penworks diamond cast material. So you have real diamond dust in that resin, which again makes it sparkle. Again, you have metal threads here. You have a number 6 size Esterbrook Yovo nib there, and this one is again another medium that I got. It's a cartridge converter pen. Will it post? Yeah, you can post it and it's not going to shake off, but it just doesn't post that deeply, and that's why I'm not really sure that these Esterbrooks were really designed to be posted. You can post them and it will post, and it is fairly secure, it just doesn't post deeply. The next pen again is another Esterbrook Estie Oversize. This is again another sparkle edition. It's a Cosmic Wine, and this is again another Mackenzie Penworks diamond cast material. You've got real diamond dust in there as well. Again, another screw, metal thread screw with a clutch mechanism. Number 6 size Esterbrook Yovo nib. Now I got this in a fine nib in this one. And you can just see that there. It's got fine on F on the side. Cartridge converter, and again, can I post the cap? Yeah, I can. But look, it just doesn't post deeply, and it just looks a little bit odd. So for me, I wouldn't post these caps, but if you are a serial cap poster, then maybe you would want to do that. The next pen here is a pen made by Ben Walsh at Gravitas Pens in Dublin, Ireland. Beautiful Sentry model. It's an oversized model. I believe this is steel or composite style steel. This is torched and beautiful, beautiful sort of, not torched, it's like an electrostatic kind of dipping that they do. And you get this beautiful sort of rainbow colour coming out of it. It's got a satin finish. It's not a heavy pen, but it's not a light pen. The section is more of a polished one, but you do have these ribs on here, very fine on that section. But you probably see that on camera. Very fine ribs, so it gives a little bit of texture. This has a Yovo 1.1mm stub nib. It's a cartridge converter. Can I post the cap? Yes, I can. Can I post it deeply? Let's have a look. That posts pretty deeply. So I do find that posts almost the full length of the cap. This really is a pen designed to be posted if you want to post your caps. I still would be careful though, because of this material. I wouldn't want this material being scratched off. So it's up to you if you want to post your caps, but personally I wouldn't do it on that colour of a pen. Now, the last pen again is another Gravitas, and again another Sentry. This is in the raw brass, and this is a much, much, much heavier pen. Very, very weighty. The cap alone is a huge weight. Again, you have that ribbed-like texture there to that section. Again, it's a cartridge converter. This has a broad Yovo nib on there, which I am loving a lot. I can, again, post the cap, and it posts quite deeply. It kind of reminds me of a Kaweco, how that then looks once that cap is posted. Very weighty pen, and this brass is patinaing, albeit slowly, but it is patinaing. So I think with that, let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen we have here is the Ryan Krusac Legends 16 in the Dragon Slayer. I think let's do a ink swatch. Now, this is a medium Yovo nib, and I do find Yovo medium nibs do write, at least for me, a little bit more like a Western fine. I do prefer the broader nibs. I wanted to write with this in notebooks, so I got it with a medium nib from Ryan Krusac. I may still get it with a broad nib, maybe get a spare broad nib. I could just put any Yovo nib in here, and that would be fine as well. So this is the Ryan Krusac Legend 16 in the Dragon Slayer. And it is a medium, and it is a still Yovo nib. And I do find that it does have quite a bit of feedback on this nib as well. And the ink in here is Noodler's, Apache, Sunset. And I think that maybe is why I prefer the Yovo broad nibs, because the Yovo broad nibs I normally typically find are quite smooth, whereas the Yovo medium and fine nibs I typically find are a little bit more on the textured, like pencil-like feedback. The next pen is a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I do love this pen. I love how this nib writes. I do like Sailor nibs. And this is a broad nib. I nearly got it with a medium nib. I'm glad I got it with a broad. So this is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. And it is a broad, and it is a 18 cat. It's 18 cat, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. 18 cat gold nib, and the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, Topaz, which is a beautiful sort of turquoisey coloured ink, nice light blue, cerulean blue colour. The next pen is the Visconti St Basil. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And again, this is a wet writing nib. Do like it a lot. Then again, I do like a lot of Visconti nibs, so that shouldn't really be much of a surprise to anybody. So this is the Visconti St Basil, and it is a medium 23 cat palladium nib, and then the ink in here is Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red, which still have a lot of bottles off, and I am still enjoying that ink. The next pen is the Visconti Luxor Obelisk. So we'll do an ink swatch. Again, another sort of fairly wet writing nib. Another nib that I do like writing with. So this is the Visconti Luxor Obelisk. Only 88 of these were ever made. And it is a medium 23 cat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is Aurora and Klinger, and it is Blue Mare, which is a very nice sort of light blue turquoisey coloured ink. The next pen is the Classic Pens LB5 in the Kouseki. So we'll do an ink swatch. And again, like these Sailor King of Pen nibs, I really do like how the Sailor King of Pen nibs write. This does write a little bit more like a fine. So this is a Classic Pens LB5 in the Kouseki with a Sailor King of Pen nib, and it is a medium, some more of a Western fine, and it's a 21 cat gold nib from Sailor, and the ink in here is Pilot Orochizuku Sakushi, which again, another lovely brown ink. It's a darker brown ink, I would say, but again, quite a nice brown ink. The next pen is the Esterbrook Estie Oversize in the Sparkle in Garnet. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, this is a medium steel nib. Again, quite a wet writing nib. It's not by any stretch a fire hose nib though. So this is an Esterbrook Estie Sparkle in Garnet, and it is a medium steel Yovo nib. And then the ink in here is KWZ, and it is Beef Eater Red, which is a UK Pen Shows exclusive, really more for the London Pen Show. London is where the Beef Eaters hang out in the Tower of London to protect it and all of the Queen's jewels. The next pen inked up is the Esterbrook Estie Oversize, and this is in the Sparkle in Tanzanite. So again, we'll do another ink swatch here. And again, a nice writing nib, I have to say. It does have a little bit more feedback on this nib, a little bit more pleasant pencil-like feedback. So this is the Esterbrook Estie Sparkle in the Tanzanite. And again, it's a medium and it's a still Yovo nib. And the ink in here is Pilot Orochizuku. I'll spell this right in a moment. Orochizuku. And it's Tsuyu Kusa. And the reason I spelled that wrong is I was trying to think of the actual name of the ink, Tsuyu Kusa, and completely started to misspell Orochizuku. The next pen inked up is the Esterbrook Estie Sparkle Oversize, and this is in the wine, or cosmic wine. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, this is a fine nib, and as much as I like the fine nib, I think I would still prefer the medium nib. Honestly, I'm not usually a fine nib writer. I don't mind fine nibs that are very wet, and I don't mind fine nibs that write a little bit more towards a medium. But then that kind of defeats the object, doesn't it? But this is the Esterbrook Estie, and this is the Cosmic Wine. I still like this pen, I still like the nib, but I think I probably would prefer it more in a medium nib. It's a steel Yovo nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine, Shimmertastic, and it's Wine Divine. But I have tried as much as I can to not put too many sparkles from that shimmer ink into that pen, because it is a fine nib. The next pen is the Gravitas Sentry in the Skittles. And this is a much wider nib. It's a 1.1mm nib, and you can just see that there. Now, it is a Yovo nib, and it's a steel nib, so typically Yovo steel nibs do not, when they go to stub, do not have tipping on the nib, so it is a flat steel nib that you're looking at there. So this is the Gravitas Sentry, and it is the Skittles, and it is a 1.1mm stub nib. It's a steel, it's a Yovo nib, and then the ink in here is Herban, and it is Violet Pensée, which is a very lovely violety coloured ink. And I have to say that I do like that ink a lot. And then the last pen here this week is the Gravitas Sentry again, but this is in the raw brass. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, this is a broad nib, and I have to say, I do like how this writes. I like the weight of the pen as well. So this is the Gravitas Sentry in the raw brass, and this is a broad steel nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Golden Brown, which is a beautiful golden brown coloured ink. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. So we have a Ryan Krusac Legends 16 in the Dragon Slayer in a medium steel nib, inked up with Noodler's Apache Sunset. We have a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath in a broad 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Pelican Edelstein Topaz. We have a Visconti St Basil in a medium 23 karat palladium nib, inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Visconti Luxor Obelisk in a medium 23 karat palladium nib, inked up with Raw and Klinger Blue Mare. We have a Classic Pens LB5 in the Kouseki in a medium 21 karat gold nib, inked up with Pilot Orochizuku Sakushi. We have an Esterbrook Estie Sparkle in the Garnet in a medium steel nib, inked up with KWZ Beefeater Red. We have an Esterbrook Estie Sparkle in the Tanzanite in a medium steel nib, inked up with Pilot Orochizuku Tsuyu Kusa. We have an Esterbrook Estie Cosmic Wine in a fine steel nib, inked up with Diamine Shimmertastic Wine Divine. We have a Gravitas Sentry Skittles in a 1.1mm stub steel Yovo nib, inked up with Herban Violet Pensée. And then we have a Gravitas Sentry in the raw brass in a broad steel nib, inked up with Diamine Golden Brown. So there you have it. That's my current ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.